point. In the movie, again, just on a dime, on a whim, we're supposed to buy that, oh, I woke up and, yeah, you know what? I'm not a racist anymore. I'm cured. And I didn't get that. Because to me, looking at this movie, the subtext to it for me is like, this guy found a way. Yeah, he's put on an act. He found a way to go over to Africa and pretty much have a safari shooting black people. But yet he can't pretend like he's a good guy who found God. Yeah, he's like, hey, as long as I'm not shooting black children and I act like I love them, then I can shoot all the niggas that I want to. I know. I'm joking around. I'm talking about the movie. It's glossing over a lot of important points of development that I need to believe what's going on with this person. Who in the movie, it's a character that I don't think is fully developed. I'm like Leon. I want to know more about the real Sam Childers because I think that this is a fascinating story. I think it's an inspirational story. This is a man who today has followed through with his convictions and doing it his way and doing it in a way that Cyrus is right. Most Christians would just talk about. This man said, the hell with it. I'm going over there. I'm going to do something.
I wonder if there was a documentary, would it show like the real Sam Childers and not the best of all lights? Because I got the impression, even from the first scenes, that he used to beat his wife. I mean, it's always that thing. He's mad. He hits the wall right next to her. But I'm like, I'm betting that fist was a few inches over when it actually happened.
That's what I was thinking too. Like watching him and seeing the wife. I mean, they're living in a goddamn trailer, and and you're looking at the family, and you're like, okay, I'm sure somebody has been beaten more than once. This fucking this trailer looks like there was a fucking bar fight in it, not like just yesterday.
I think the reasoning is because as viewers, we're more willing to forgive murder and drug use than we are wife beating. Honestly, as audiences.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they did gloss over a lot of those kind of things. I mean, I think that there's a lot that went on with this man. I think that maybe the whole thing with him picking up a guy and killing him, I mean, he might be missing. This guy, he's killing people in Africa like it's nothing. He might have like murdered some people. He probably was a violent drug dealer. He probably did beat his wife. I mean, there's probably a lot of things that they're glossing over with this guy. I'm not saying that that's what it is. I just, if I knew those kind of things and saw that this man turned around, that would be a lot more inspirational and believable to me than probably I saw this movie.
Is what I liked, at least with the characters, that there's never a moment where I thought this guy is just completely. He feels like he's redeemed himself. I mean, throughout the entire movie, towards the end, you can see him still battling his demons.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the film needed to spell it all out for you, but at least with his acting, I mean, you could just tell, there's something that's really still eating away at this guy, and he may not ever be able to run away from it. And when you watch the story progress, it's kind of like going in that direction where it's like this guy, even though he's doing this noble cause, he may have a side agenda with it.
Absolutely.
As far as where he wants his life to end up.
And shooting black people. That's his hidden agenda.
Well, it is,
I think Corey's the one with a hidden agenda.
Are you trying to rewrite the script during this review, Corey?
He said he's a racist. He's a racist.
He's a white.
There comes that point, not to beat the Punisher metaphor to death, although it's hard to get around. But there's that point with all this killing where it's like, I'm starting to think that maybe you're using your family as an excuse for why you're doing this, but it's really inside you to go out and kill a bunch of folks.
Well, I think it's not even that like he wants to kill a bunch of folks so much. It's like I said earlier, it's all that anger and the hatred, and he's found a different channel for it.
Yeah.
And he wants to be forgiven. He wants to be forgiven in his own life. He genuinely feels bad. And there's that great epiphany moment again, his second epiphany later on when he kind of comes to the realization, well, shit, I am still that guy, except I'm redirecting this. I'm letting this anger and this rage control me. I'm becoming that person again, just with a different, reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, I want to get this point across to the audience. He's not just over there shooting black people. He's over there shooting some evil motherfuckers.
Yeah, color doesn't even enter into it.
Because I never thought for a second, because I do get uncomfortable when I'm just like, okay, this guy just shooting random black people just for the hell of it. Not really giving me a reason to like really hate these people that he's killing, but they do. I mean, these villains are about as villainous as the guys in Rambo. Where you're like, when you see them get fucking exploding all over the place, you're like, yes, because they fucking deserve it, because they are evil, heartless bastards. And, there's a scene that really drives it to the point for me where, I mean, he goes, and they come across a bunch of kids that are out in the middle of nowhere. He can only take so many because they only have one truck. When you see what happens, you're like, oh, okay, man, this is really fucked.
And you know something? I don't think that he's over there. Kind of pulled into a situation where it pulls that violence out of him again. And
he wants to be a pacifist.
And he went on a whim too, which I mean, that's one of the most important things. He just said, "Hey, where's the crazy shit?" But
you know what? The thing is that point that you're talking about with him shooting kids. That's another thing that I wish they had elaborated on too. It's at what point does he? You know, you have children who are being kidnapped and recruited into this army, and the movie shows them as either they're orphans or they're killers. And I would like to have seen something where, okay, did he ever confront any of these orphans that were not fully converted, but on that path to being like the soldiers that he's been killing?
Yeah, there's a trauma film called Killer Orphans, I believe. So you can follow.
I just think that there's another opportunity there where they could have touched on something a little more complex instead of just being, again, a black and white Rambo action flick. Now I will say though, I did, taking everything away, any kind of moral message here, anything about this guy's real life, I did like the movie because I'm not going to completely buy this biopic, word for word. I don't think we can do that with any movie today. But with this film, watching it as an action film, yeah, you go in there and you see these people doing these heinous things. You see him out there trying to fight for a right. And you can't help but root for the guy. It's on a very basic level, but I did enjoy it that way. And I enjoyed some of the performances from characters that I thought weren't going to really be focused on him later in the movie. They had a bigger role in this man's story. Like Michelle Monaghan plays Lynn Childers, his wife. And at first I thought they're really not going to use her for anything in this movie. But they, when this guy's going over to Africa and he begins to be consumed by his mission there, you begin to see him neglect his wife. And I would thought they were going to not really touch on that too much, but they did. And when it gets to that point where his wife has to confront him about this thing becoming more than just a mission, but it is an obsession, you begin to feel the pain of her and her daughter. And I thought that was expressed very well. Yeah, like I said, the movie can be enjoyed, I think, but only on a basic level. I think anybody who wants to go in there and see this as some very inspirational, moving biopic is probably going to look at it like I did. Like, hey, this is not very good on that end. But as a movie, an action film, I think it's pretty decent. I would give it a very low matinee.
I'm kind of right there, almost exactly with you. I think Coho said it best, saying how it was a biopic and an action movie that are trying to come together. And it's almost that feeling of, I wish it could have picked one or the other and really gone for it. As a biopic, it's okay. I mean, you get things like Michael Shannon as his best friend, and that character seems like he's going to be more than what he is. But by the end, it just kind of goes that generic best friend route where it's like, I'm not even sure he even had an actual friend. It's almost feel like a character they wrote just for the movie. And the action stuff is good, but we talked about all the ways it could have gone had it just been mostly in Africa. It's only like the last third of it that he spends in Africa. And just at those times when they blow it up so much bigger than life, it makes me wonder about the real story. On one hand, I go like, wow, I bet the real story is more interesting. And then again, maybe the real story isn't all that. Like they just used a lot to make it more than what it is. But like you said, it is enjoyable. The parts that work pretty well. It's heartbreaking to see what goes on. And I come in at a low matinee.
I'm going to give it a full-on matinee. I mean, I was almost close to giving it a full price only because I walked in this movie cold. I had no idea what to expect. Just from hearing the title, I was expecting another like trauma-level film. And when I was watching, I was like, okay, what the hell is this now? And as it progressed, I mean, I like a story where somebody who I think is just completely irredeemable, just a bad fucking guy where you just don't like him from the get-go, But as the story progresses, you start to see, wow, this guy has a lot of fucking demons. He's trying to deal with it. His family's dealing with it. And he gets on this route where it takes him into this whole nother fucking world that you would never expect. And what he actually, he becomes proactive in that world to try to do some good. I found it really, really interesting. And I'm like, at the end, I was like, well, okay, wow, this is based on a true story, I guess, because the guy, they showed footage at the very end during the credits of this guy out there doing stuff, which he doesn't look like Gerald Butler. He looks like the fucking dad from American Chopper or something. Yeah. I mean, he looks like a fucking biker. They got that part right. But yeah, I was completely fascinated, and I wanted to go home and really read about this guy, because I'm like, wow, you talk about unsung heroes. If this guy really is doing what he's doing, and why I haven't heard of it, why I haven't heard of him until this movie is beyond me. But other than that, I mean, I was due to the performances I thought were full price, but the performance, if they could have found some level of really make it sink, because there's times when I really felt like, okay, now I'm watching Rambo. I'm watching the next Rambo movie. But yeah, I think it's definitely full on good matinee. Yeah.
I wish I could have liked it as much as you did, co-host. I think I'm right there with Corey and Leon. But I think maybe for slightly different reasons. I didn't have as much of a problem with the way the action movie and the rest of the story went. In fact, I thought that's when it was at its best, really. I mean, I was enjoying the guy getting to this point, but I felt it was the transition points that were kind of awkward, like the film. Mark Forster, who's a very competent director, I thought he's so much better usually at these sort of emotional transitions. And I thought that just the way they were represented in the film, I mean, I agree with you to a certain extent, Corey. I think they were rushed a bit. And not just him suddenly going, I'm going to Africa, but the moment where he goes from I'm in Africa to help these kids to, you know what, I'm going to kill some motherfuckers to even later going you know what, I think maybe I got a little carried away with killing some motherfuckers. All those moments, they never really sold to me, and I don't know if I should be blaming the script or Gerard Butler or the director, but either way, I never got but so much emotional resonance with it. I think that a much better film that deals with the same subject that came out last year was the Academy Award winner for Best Foreign Language Film, In a Better World, which is about a pacifist that goes to Africa and has to deal with warlords and figure out, shit, what am I going to do? If I take action, I can stop him, this warlord, from doing horrific shit. But if I do that, I'm going against my code as a pacifist. Yeah. I felt like this movie just kind of glossed over that question entirely and just went, nope, I'm going to kill some motherfuckers. Yeah. But it's a low matinee for me because I felt like it really could have been a lot more than it was. Yeah. And it ended up just feeling like it was just satisfied with, that's enough. Yeah.
I got that exact same feeling too.
Well, another thing I didn't bring up was I just thought some of the biopics parts were really melodramatic to the point of just, for this kind of movie, just being a little bit too predictable and sappy. I won't name any, but you know what we're talking about later on in the film when you see it. There's something that happens, you can see it coming a mile away, and when it does happen, I mean, you know it's going to happen, but when it happens, you're like, damn, I didn't expect it to be this cheesy. But it's, look, this guy's an inspiration to me. If anybody deserves a bumper sticker that says, I kick ass for the Lord, it's this guy right here, And Cyrus, you're right, the director here, I will say that this is more enjoyable than some of the movies I've seen. It's a very eclectic director, too. It's the guy who's done, The Kite Runner, Quantum of Solace, Finding Neverland. So looking at him do this kind of very violent action film is just another thing that he's done that makes me say he's not the best at it, but he's pretty competent at it and gives me more faith in the movie that he's directed next. Cole, so you know what this guy's doing next?
No.
He is doing World War Z. Now that's the hell with Africa. The zombie problem is what people need to know about. Now that's something that's important.
Some real
that's
shit.
Real shit right there. Yes,
that's happening to everyone. Not just Africa. Not only is Africa going to deal with it, I'm going to have to deal with that shit. All you motherfuckers in this room are going to deal with it.
Even Brad Pitt has to deal with it.
Yeah. That motherfucker, him and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, well, they're over in Africa, so there's zombies all over.
Yeah, maybe they're raising some zombie babies.
There you go.
That's the orphanage that we're going to build in Sudan.
They talk about you, the children.
I'm just trying to help these people, same as you. The entire rebel army has put a bounty on your head. I must be doing something right. They burn it down. Ain't nothing left. It's over.
Get off your butt and build it again. You hear me?
Tom, wait.
See where waiting gets you?
This place does not need more guns.
Why don't you fight the evil in this place your way and let me fight it mine? Helping you kids is about the only good thing I've ever done in this life. You got no idea what I'm saying, do you?